Ridgeway Brewing Bad Elf.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. This is another Christmas beer. All these Christmas beers, ones that I'm reviewing, the English ones, have come from the House of Trembling Madness, and it came in their, they do like a hamper of Christmas beer. And some of the choices that they of the beers that they've put in there, I'm not sure whether it's beers that they thought maybe we'll have a bit of trouble shifting this, because I mean I'll take that back. There are some good beers in there. Don't worry about that if you do buy it. There are some good beers, but there's some beers in there that I do question whether they're Christmas beers, and I have to say I think this could possibly be one of them. Now don't get me wrong, this comes from Ridgeway Brewing. They're not a bad brewer. I've tried a few of their beers and they're really good. And I'd say the two that really did stand out for me, they did a very nice IPA, English style IPA. That was, I think it was the Charger. That was nice. They also did a barley wine, which was pretty good, and they did an Imperial Red Ale, which was quite nice as well. This, on the other hand, is a Christmas Pale Ale. Now, I did mention in the other video that I've put up, the Great Newsom Brewery, they do a Christmas IPA, and somebody, a German subscriber, questioned me and said, is that really a thing? Wait 1 second. Here is your Christmas IPA. It's called Newsom Noel, and it's a Christmas IPA. Don't get me started on it. I'm seriously considering whether to have a rant on that video or not. I shouldn't really, because Great Newsom are a reasonably good brewer. I tried one of their ruby ales yesterday, Christmas ruby ale, and it wasn't too bad. It was more like a best bitter, but it was quite nice. But Ridgeway seem to have jumped on that bandwagon as well, and they're doing something that I don't know. I seriously think, and I could be wrong here, so Ridgeway, if you do watch this, which they probably won't, if you're not doing it, I do apologise now. But it's my guess, and this is a guess, don't take this as gospel, but it's my guess that they're just rebadging some of their original beers, because they've got a Christmas barley wine, they've got a Christmas Imperial Red Ale. That's Percy, by the way, making noises over there. Isn't it, you little git? Get your eyes off that beer, alright? Yeah, I think they're rebadging some of their beers, and I think this may be a rebadged pale ale that they have all year round. Now, if they're doing that, then if it's good beer, it's good beer. But I think it's a little bit snaky, in my opinion. But they're a very small brewer. They don't have their own brewing facilities. At least that's what they say on the website. And they are using they are what's known as a cuckoo brewer, which basically means that they hire the equipment in an already established brewery and brew to their own recipe and their own ingredients, which is fine, and I'm all for that, and I really do hope that they go from strength to strength, because they do some good beers, as I mentioned. The barley one was really nice. I did like that. If you want to review that on the channel, I've reviewed quite a few of their beers on the channel as well, so the general synopsis on that is that they're quite good. But this stuff, it's a winter's ale, but it's a winter pale ale, according to their website. And one thing I did notice about this, it says on here that they've got the gumph and everything, but you really do have to look to see that this is Ridgeway Brewing, which is another reason why I'm thinking maybe this is a rebadge of some of their existing beers. They call them seasonal beers, but if you look at the label, I mean, that does look like a sort of a hobgoblin type artwork. But Yeah, and Ridgeway Brewing, I mean, you really do have to look. That's the only mention there. Ridgeway Brewing, very small letters. Which, again, is up to them. I mean, it's, you know, I'm just merely a beer critic. And have I got reason to be criticising their beers? Well, yeah, because I paid for it, I can criticise. That's my philosophy anyway. And again, as I always say, these are just opinions. If you taste this beer, you may get some completely different flavours to me. People's palates do vary. So there you go. That is my disclaimer. Anyway, let's get this open. Let's see what's going on. Before we get it open, I'll give you a quick rundown on what it is. It's a 500ml bottle. It is 4. I was reading this a minute ago. What is it? It is 4.5% ABV. They've got this down as a pint. It's not a pint. It is just under a pint. It's 500ml, but they're saying it's a pint. It's not. 568ml is a pint, and this ain't. What has it got in the description? It says, "'Tis a heavy hand, which adds the hops to this festive amber ale." They call it an amber ale. On the website, it's a pale ale, a festive pale ale. Work that one out. Truth be told, there's near to 3 pounds of fresh hops gone into every barrel of this treasured brew, and it's conditioned right in the bottle. Sorry to sound like I'm fucking mentally subnormal reading this, but the writing is really hard to understand. It's some very obscure font. So please pour gently into your best flagon, leaving that little bit, that wee bit of natural yeast behind. Again, that's something that I'm not sure about. They all say it over here. In Belgium, they say to throw it all in. In Germany, they throw it all into their wheat beers. I don't know why. It's just the English don't put it. Maybe it's because it will make the beer look cloudy, and that's an old school thing. Years ago, cloudy beer was a big no-no. Would you believe? It's only since the advent of craft beer, that cloudy beer, unfiltered beer has become popular. So there you go. Well, in this country anyway. Certainly not in Europe. But there you go. Peter Scully, he is the head brewer. Reading about him on the website. Him and his missus started this brewery. They're based in Oxfordshire. Yeah, so there you go. That's really all you're going to get. Ingredients, water. Well, they just give you the usual, don't it? Water, barley, malt, etc. The usual caper. According to the Surgeon General, yeah, you shouldn't drink too much and whatever. Our range of very special Christmas beers, brewed in England. One of our range of very special Christmas beers brewed in England. We all know, of course, that Santa is really from Lapland. Is he? He's originally based on Odin, the Viking god of wisdom, the Old Father, as they called him in Viking times. He's based on that. Apparently he would go around giving gifts to people, and that's where that bloody tradition of giving people presents, honestly, fucking what a load of old bollocks. Anyway, let's stop ranting, let's get this open and see what's going on. There is the green cap. Oh, bloody hell. This is just above room temperature. It's very, very slightly chilled. Kitchen downstairs is quite cold. The heating's off and it is absolutely taters out there. It is freezing. Right. They said this is an amber ale. On the website, it says it's a pale ale. To me, that looks like a golden ale. And it smells like a golden ale as well. God, I don't know what it is. I really don't. But lately, the beers that I'm trying have just got no aroma to them. I don't know whether it's me losing my my sense of smell, or whether it's just I'm picking beers that have got absolutely no aroma in them whatsoever. And that doesn't smell great. It's very, very subdued aromas. I really can't discern what's coming from that. Nothing obvious. The Americans would hate this at the moment because, as I say, it's just slightly below room temperature. But of course, that's the way English ale should be drunk. And I don't care what you say about, oh, you know, you drink warm beer. It's not warm. We don't heat the beer up. I don't know. You might get some more aroma out of it if you did, but there's absolutely no aroma coming from that at all. I really can't get anything. Nope. Marston's would be proud of that. Let's get it down the hatch and see what the flavour's like. Good Elf from A Pint of Good Elf. That is very, very uninspiring, I have to say. There is some vague biscuit malt on the finish. And there's like a little residual bitterness on the finish, but Christ, that is very uninspiring. And it makes me question why they've actually done it. And as I say, this is slightly below room temperature. It's got a little touch of a chill on it, but not much. So I should be getting all the flavours. And it really isn't that great. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pour the yeast in there, see if that gives any flavour whatsoever. I'm going to err on the side of caution and saying it may do. Believe it or not, they do a triple, a Christmas triple as well. I imagine that's based on a Belgian style triple. Well, the name would suggest that. If it's not, then again I'd question the reason why they've done that. But this is just, well, at the moment it's bland. Let's see what it's like with the residue that's gone in there. Oh, there's a bit more bitterness, if anything. But it just, again, a golden ale. That's what I'd say that is. And as you can see, there is a haziness to it now, but God, that is so uninspiring and insipid. And you know, golden ale for me is one of them English styles that is really hit and miss. They called that a pale ale. They've called it a Christmas amber ale. That's what it says on the website. Does it say it on there? On the website it's called a pale ale, and here it's called a golden ale. It's more akin to a golden ale, in my opinion. Percy's gone to sleep. That's how inspired he is by this beer. Oh, I'm questioning whether I'm going to drink this or pour it down the sink. There isn't any real nasties in it, but I'm struggling to get any real discernible flavours. The only thing I'm getting is a bitterness on there, and a vague biscuit malt finish, and that's about it. If Marston's had done this, I said this would be in keeping with their style. Just bland, flavourless, uninspiring beer. And I hate doing that because they're capable of brewing some really decent beer. But they've come up with this, and I just think, is it to appeal to lager drinkers? If it is, I don't think they're going to like it. And it's leaving me just wanting to not drink it. Not because it's bad, but I don't. I've got to the stage now where I don't want to drink beer for the sake of it. If I've bought it and I'm really not enjoying it, then I won't drink it. I'm not enjoying that because it's not doing anything for me at all. It's just uninspiring, and they're all over the shop with the description, and I just think, oh, I believe they can do better. Well, I know they can do better. And this, if I was head brewer, I'd question why they'd let it go. I'd question why they actually let it go out the doors, because it's just so uninspiring. I guess some people may drink it if you're not concerned about flavour. You just want a vaguely alcoholic drink that's light in colour, resembles a golden ale with a load of Christmas decoration on that. Then yeah, you might enjoy it, but this isn't for me. So what's the verdict on Bad Elf from the Ridgeway Brewing Company? Well, to be honest, this is all fur coat and no knickers. I mean, it looks quite decent from the label. You expect you're getting a Christmas beer. What you're actually getting is a very, very mediocre golden ale. And it's one of them golden ales where they've managed to rein it in from the brink of tasting nasty to just being nondescript, boring. Why would you bother? I don't know whether they were gambling on people eating something with this, which I suppose if it's drunk with a meal, then you know it's a palate cleanser. It'll help the food go down. But if you want flavour, if you want, have a little bit of moreish enjoyment, if you want to really savour the flavours of a beer, then this really isn't the one for you, and that's a shame. And yes, I know it's Ridgeway Brewery and I like what they do. However, this one is a bit of a and I think House of Trembling Madness know that, and they think they're going to struggle to sell it, so that's why they've thrown it in their hamper. And that's where all these Christmas beers, the English Christmas beers, have come from. The House of Trembling Madness Christmas beers, English Christmas beer selection. And yeah, I don't think they've been selected. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are a few diamonds in the dog shit with that one, but I'm thinking someone's looked at that and thought, we've bought all these because they're Christmas beers, but we may have trouble selling them. Let's put them in a hamper and we'll get some mug to buy them. And it weren't cheap, the whole lot of them. And that mug was me. That wasn't really. I bought that fully with my eyes open, knowing what I was getting into, because I wanted to review them. And this one, unfortunately, is not going to get a good mark. I'm going to give that a 3 out of 10. Now that's going to sound really harsh, but if it didn't have all the dressing up and the labelling and it was down as a golden ale, I would have said, yeah, that sort of does fit into the golden ale category. It's got a winter's ale written on it. This is not a winter's ale. It really isn't. Winter's ale for me, I know I've kept saying it on these videos, but winter ale is stuff like stout, porter, barley wine, strong bitters, ESB, strong English ale, winter warmers, old ale, that sort of thing. Golden ale, for me, is not a winter's ale. And it's a shame. A shame they've done that. They don't need to do it. That's pure marketing, that is. And that ain't great. So there you go. That's going to get a 3 out of 10. I'm not going to recommend it. If you do end up with one of these, just forget all that. Just think that that's got golden ale written across there, and drink accordingly. And you may enjoy it if you're eating something. If you're eating Crimbo dinner with that, yeah, it may be alright, because you won't be concentrating on the flavours. But as far as that goes, that's probably going to go down the sink. Not because it's bad, it's because I just cannot be bothered to drink it. And remember, I'm drinking this shit, so you don't have to.